So we will update a little bit more. But right now I want to welcome in my good pal, Mikey Domagala, Courtside Buzz. Mikey doing a great job for years. Mikey, how long you've had this site now?
Going on 13 years.
It's incredible, man. And you're still getting in for under 12 at the movies, but you're 24 now. You're going to be 25, or did you make the 25 yet?
No, I'm 25 now, and yeah, Ken, that was a good one. I just completed my 13th NBA season, so it's a blast to do that and a thrill to do it too. It's 13 great years. That's
awesome, man. Unbelievable. I mean, getting started young, very successful, young entrepreneur, but you love what you do. But like KT, you're a fellow Knicks sufferer. Now, the difference between you and Ken Thompson is that you're too young to ever say that you actually saw the Knicks win a title. KT is not. So, I'm hoping, against all hope, that you're going to be able to see a Knicks title one of these years. I'd love it for it to be this year. Now, they finished with the number 2 overall seed in the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee fell apart, and, of course, Giannis not playing the last several regular season games, but this team just not playing well chemistry-wise. Doc Rivers comes over, and, of course, my producer, Mark Coca, a Sixers fan, going, oh, they got Doc, they're in trouble. And lo and behold, Milwaukee really hasn't had the answers. But we'll get to a lot of the matchups and whatnot. But a Knicks fan, I mean, it's tough. And even that game yesterday where the Bulls are resting, a bunch of players. DeRozan played, though, and Caruso was solid in the third and fourth quarter. And you just knew it was close, and you're like, somehow, some way, in a game that the Knicks are favored by double digits, they're going to struggle for a team that's already solidified as far as where they're going to be in the play-in game in the Eastern Conference, the Chicago Bulls. They knew they were going to be playing Atlanta, had nothing to play for, and probably should have beaten the Knicks. And a couple different times, the Knicks could not even inbound the ball to where Chicago was going to have to foul right away. As long as they got the ball inbounds, and they got away with one there where it could have been off Brunson. They didn't call it, and then Hart loses the one off his knee literally 2 seconds later, and then they avoid a DeRozan floater, which I said on the show it probably makes 8 out of 10 times. So very, very fortunate to get the 1-point overtime victory. That puts them in the number 2 spot, which does help them avoid Boston until the finals, if they were to make it that far, of the Eastern Conference. So that's the silver lining there. But as far as the Knicks team, you and I talked about it, Mikey, a little bit. At the end of regulation, a tie game, and I get it. Brunson's the guy. He's their best player. He's their best scorer. But to me, as a Knicks fan, what made Michael Jordan so great was that he would find the open guy, whether it's Kerr or Paxson or Horace Grant or whoever the hell. It could be Will Perdue, for the love of God. If that guy was open, Jordan, when he got doubled up, would find that person and give them the open shot. Brunson takes an off-balance corner shot there. He didn't even have a good angle on and misses it at the end of regulation. And it really drives me nuts that guys are that selfish. And I know they're great players, but you know what? At the NBA level, Mikey, if you're doubled up, somebody is wide open, how can you not get the ball? You had plenty of time to work it, draw the double team, and then kick it and get it to somebody that's going to have a wide open shot. I have no problem with that, especially in a tie game, or go to the rack hard and, try and draw contact and get to the free throw line. It's one of those pet peeves of mine. I told you that it reminds me of a team trying to close out a baseball game, and they bring in their closer, and the guy could walk the first 3 guys on 12 pitches, and the manager doesn't even move because that's my closer. I'll go down with the ship, like the Titanic. As long as the band's playing, it's okay. Let the ship sink. And it drives you absolutely nuts. But it is what it is. The Knicks got away with it. But some of that stuff where it's my team and I've got to be the guy to get the last shot, that just didn't float back in the day when it was really a much more team-oriented game back in the day.
Yeah, Ken, you make a lot of good points. And I pretty much see both sides of the coin, because Jalen Brunson is, in fact, one of the best bad shot makers in the NBA right now. He, for his size at 6'1", 6'2", he can get it over his center. He can get it even when he's double teamed. So I have confidence in that mid-range jumper. I've seen it hit in the clutch many, many, many times. But the other side of the coin is, yes, he can find the open man. But this Knicks team, outside of Brunson right now with Julius Randle hurt, would he find that big shot maker? wide open to actually hit the three. I know that's the better basketball move, to find the open guy. But if it's not DiVincenzo, I could see Josh Hart missing from three. OG Anunoby from three is good outside of the corner. He's not that good from three.
But Mikey, why does it have to be from three? It's a tie game.
Well, yes, in that situation, yeah. In that situation, you hit Hartenstein down low for a little baby floater or something like that. But, assuming the double team, most of these Knicks can, especially in this new NBA, they're floating by that 3-point line, even in a tie game. It's crazy. But
yeah, I don't mind Bogdanovich shooting an open three. A three. I'll take my chances.
Yeah,
that's why they got him, right?
But that's if he's in. Tibbs has been a little weird with his minutes. But he's been good the last couple weeks, which has been great. But I see both sides of the coin, Ken.
Right.
And that's what scares me in the playoffs when they need that other guy to step up in a Game 5, Game 6, Game 7 in crunch time. And they're throwing, the kitchen sink at Jalen Brunson, double, triple team. Who's going to step up consistently? Not hit a big shot, but consistently who's going to help them down the stretch? And that could be an issue without Randall.
No, that's a good point. Okay, so let's go and look at some play-in games and get it started there. Let's start with Miami and Philadelphia, because this, to me, is going to be a lot of fun because we know Jimmy Buckets gets things rolling in the postseason. Tyler Hero's healthy. Adebayo. These guys have plenty of experience. Now, they're a little bit banged up. Rozier, Duncan Robinson. But at the end of the day, this should still be fun. Now, Embiid is back, and he got back in plenty of time. And you would have thought that they would have grabbed that sixth spot because they didn't lose a game with Embiid. That's how solid they were. And he's playing out of his mind. He looks like he hasn't, skipped a beat. And with him getting that time off to rehab, he's come back and he looks strong. Now, he kind of scared Philly fans in the paint, I think it was late third quarter where he his leg locked up for a second, but then he was okay. And in fact, no, it was second quarter because he came back out in the third quarter and then ended up playing and looked like he was okay. So Philly, Miami, Philly's at home. Who do you like in this game?
Man, it's tough. This is Bam Adebayo. Everybody knows how great of a defender he is. But to solidify him as one of the greatest defenders of this era, the 2020s of the NBA, if he could shut down Joel Embiid in this playing game and advance Miami, into the playoffs, that would do great big things for his career. Now, it's about the matchups. Is Jimmy Butler gonna be playoff Jimmy Butler in this game? Bam Adebayo versus Joel Embiid. Are the guards of Miami going to be able to contain Tyrese Maxey? There's a lot of big things to play in this game. Is Philly going to be able to deal with being lulled to sleep by Miami's defense and their slow pace? So, because the 76ers, since Embiid's been back, they're averaging 125 a game. They're scoring a ton of points, Embiid and Maxey. It's a different style of play in the playoffs and when you play the Miami Heat. It's tough, Ken. This matchup is so neck and neck for numerous reasons. One big-time offensive team against a great defensive team. I have to give it to the Sixers because I know how Embiid plays in these games. He's going to get himself to the free throw line. In crunch time, if it's a close game, he's getting to the line. And I think that might push them over the edge. Now, I don't think Miami's really going to be knocked out. I think if they go on to play in the losing bracket and they could win out from there 2 in a row, I think they could sneak in there, but we'll see. I'm going to give it to Philly just because they're riding a high of Embiid's comeback.
How about Kyle Lowry? He's got something personal against Miami too, and he's
Yep.
playing good solid ball since he got there. And you talked about Maxey. Maxey's playing out of his mind, but Tobias Harris is pretty steady. So yeah, they have players. There's no question. Philly's good enough, and I'd like to see Philly play the Knicks just because the Hoaxer, Mark and I would like to have a little rivalry here in studio. That'll be a lot of fun. And actually, the Knicks actually handled Philly, big time in Philly with Embiid there in both those games, right?
Kick their butt both times, and that goes to team basketball being played by the Knicks, team defense being played by the Knicks. Isaiah Hartenstein doing great on Embiid, and now Mitchell Robinson's back. So shutting him down will be important, of course. That's an obvious statement. And yeah, Philly's good, Ken. They got Kelly Oubre, Lowry, like you said, who will come up clutch in every situation he's in. He'll hit that big shot that they need. So I'm very excited for that.
Okay.
Tomorrow night, I believe they play, or maybe Thursday. I got to check the exact.
No. One's Tuesday and one's Wednesday. I thought the West was Tuesday and the East was Wednesday, but I may have it backwards.
Yes, you're right. Yep. Tomorrow's the Lakers already.
Right.
Quick turnaround.
Right. We'll get to that one in a second. The other play-in game, as far as the Eastern Conference, will be Atlanta and Chicago. I'm just saying, if that Chicago team that played at Madison Square Garden plays, against Atlanta, I think they'll take care of business. You and I were talking about Kobe White, man. He just looked like he could create a shot, whatever, and he went to the rack. See, and that's what I liked. He protected the ball well to where it wasn't going to get blocked. And I will tell you, Kobe White impressed me in that fourth quarter. And then Caruso is a guy you cannot leave open. So when you have DeMar DeRozan and Kobe White doing their thing, if they're able to find Caruso open, and he missed one of the corner jumpers that actually probably would have sealed it for the Bulls, but he was still, pretty solid. And that kid's got game. There's no question. So this Bulls team to me is dangerous, and the Hawks are a little bit banged up.
Yeah, for sure. If I had a vote for the NBA awards, I would give the most improved to Kobe White. I mean, the numbers and the impact, more minutes, all of that. This matchup's another neck-and-neck one, Ken. It can literally go either way. You're going to get clutch baskets from DeMar DeRozan, or I've seen Dejounte Murray come up extremely clutch for these Hawks. Trae Young is back, so they are getting a little more healthy.
What about Capella? What about Capella? Because I know he was banged up too.
I'm not sure if he's coming back for this game or not. I got to check, but that's a big-time move, a big-time factor in this game. I mean, Vucevic does stretch the floor, but I got to give it to the DeMar DeRozan factor. Big-time shot maker, always coming up big in the clutch, a veteran who's been in this moment before, Ken. Just one game to win, you need DeRozan scoring 35. I think he could get it for you. Caruso locking up the guards. Caruso's going to be guarded. Caruso's going to be guarding Trae Young. So Trae Young's in for a long night. So in that other sense, it's about shutting off Bogdanovich from three and Dejounte Murray slicing up the mid-range. So I got to give it to Chicago.
All right, so and then if Chicago wins, they'll take on Miami. If you're indeed right and Philly takes out Miami, and then who would you go with there?
I got to go Miami, definitely. Or whoever faces the Bulls, whether it's Miami or Philly, they're going to beat the Bulls. No question. Probably in 5 or 6 games. It won't even be that difficult.
So it would be Boston and Miami and be New York and Philadelphia.
2 star-studded juggernaut games right off the backhand. It's this series, this year's playoffs is going to be incredible. I mean, the West is loaded, but low-key, the East has a ton of great matchups. I mean, I know we're going to get to it next, but how about those Orlando Magic, Ken? I mean, they're a great deep team. Hands full with Cleveland, but Paolo Banchero needs way more credit leading this team to the 5th seed in his second year, which is incredible.
Okay, so when we come back, we'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll get into the Eastern Conference. We'll look at Boston, the 1 seed, and again, we'll assume they're going to play Philly, and then the Knicks. Or I'm sorry, we'll assume they're going to play Miami, and then we'll look at Knicks and the Sixers, and then Milwaukee. You'll be playing Indiana. That's the 3 versus the 6, and then the 4 versus the 5. That'll be Cleveland and the Orlando Magic. As far as the West, which we'll do the following segment, it'll be the Lakers and New Orleans in the play-in game tomorrow, followed by Golden State, who's the 10 against the 9 Sacramento. So if the Lakers can win, they'd move into that 7 slot. If New Orleans wins, then they get the 7 slot, and then Golden State and Sacramento, the winner, will play the loser of that Lakers-Pelicans matchup, which will be a lot of fun. Now, first-round matchups in the West that are set, we know it's going to be Minnesota and Phoenix, and we know it's going to be the Clippers and Dallas. Minnesota's the 3, Phoenix the 6, and the Clippers the 4. Dallas is the 5. Denver gets the winner of that Pelicans-Lakers game, and OKC got the number 1 overall seed in the Western Conference. Unbelievable. And they will take on the 8 seed. Again, that'll either be one of those 4 teams, Pelicans, Lakers, Kings, or Warriors. We'll talk about it with Mikey D when we come back. SportsX Radio, 101.5 FM KDAWN. And the Hoaxster has found another 4-pack of tickets. He had another 4-pack of tickets. Is unbelievable that we've got TNA Wrestling right here at Pearl at the Palms. If you haven't been to Pearl at the Palms, I've been there for concerts. It is an incredible venue. And so Saturday and Sunday, TNA Wrestling will be there. Saturday is the Rebellion. So Mark Hoke got an email and got a couple extra 4-pack setups from TNA Wrestling. And so write the number down, 257-5396, 257-5396, 257-5396. We're going to go to break. Mark's going to field calls. Mark, what number caller?
Caller 10.
Caller 10. Caller 10, 257-5396. It's for Saturday. Be there at 4 o'clock. A 4-pack of tickets for Rebellion TNA Professional Wrestling right here, Pearl at the Palms. Go to break, Sports X Radio, and these are ringside seats. These are ringside seats. And, yeah, the thing is, last time we gave away the ringside, I think the phone kept ringing like after we had a winner for like 5 minutes because people hear ringside, and they're like, what? Ringside. TNA Wrestling ringside, Pearl at the Palms for Saturday, Rebellion, 257-5396. Take a break, come back, keep Mikey D here as we get more into the NBA playoffs. And the Hoekster will chime in as well because he's a big Sixers fan. We'll see what he has to say about his Sixers having a chance against the Knicks or against Boston. We'll talk about it when we come back. Sports X Radio, live from Vegas. Coming right back. Play-in games, especially that Lakers-New Orleans game. Ironically, they played the last game of the regular season, and the Lakers dumped New Orleans big time. So that pushed the Pelicans into that 7 spot. So it's 7-8 with the Pels and Lakers. Phoenix jumps up ahead of New Orleans. And who'd have thunk it? I mean, it looked for all intents and purposes like Phoenix was going to get that 6 seed. They crushed New Orleans in the Bayou by 20-plus points. But then when they went back to New Orleans, they lost the next game they played against New Orleans. So that hurt, and they followed that up by losing to the Clippers, who were shorthanded. Then they beat the Clippers the following night, another depleted roster for the Clippers, missing both George and Kawhi Leonard. And somehow, some way, it worked out to where, all New Orleans had to do was win that one more game, and they end up dropping their last couple, and they got pummeled by the Lakers at home. Wasn't even close, and Anthony Davis didn't even play in that game. So now the Lakers and New Orleans will play in that 7-8 matchup, and the winner there will get that 7 spot, and then the loser will play the winner of Golden State and Sacramento. And Mikey D, when you look back, with Sacramento, this was a team that I thought was going to finish, maybe get the 5 or 6 seed at worst. But my goodness, they just kind of fell by the wayside. And then Golden State, we know they're dangerous, and they just realized, you know what? We're okay. We're okay, and they rested their starters yesterday. Said, you know what, we know where we are. We'll take a shot at the 10 spot, and we think we're good enough to play our way into the top 8. So talk to me about the 2 play-in games as far as the Western Conference.
Yeah, I'll start with Sacramento and Golden State. Me too, Ken. I thought the Kings would get even better than they were last year, and they kind of got worse with Sabonis breaking records, Malik Monk looking like the 6th man of the year, and they're somehow worse. And in this play-in spot, I think Golden State takes care of them, one, because Malik Monk is hurt. He's out a couple more weeks. If they win, he'll be back in the first or second round, I read. But we got Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson, and the other young pieces of Golden State, Chris Paul off the bench, in one game or, fight harder for your spot kind of night. I think the Warriors take care of it. Steph Curry's going to go for a 35-plus bomb like he did last year when he faced the Kings in Game 7. He dropped 50. So I don't doubt Steph Curry in this game. I could see Golden State winning, and I have the same argument for the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers, like you said, just spanked the Pelicans without Anthony Davis. Now they get AD back, AD and LeBron being one of the GOATs. Is he really going to win? Is he really going to lose a big game like this? No. The Lakers are going to get in that playoffs. The Lakers shoot the most free throws in the league, so they're going to have the refs on their side, like usual, even though they win fair and square when they do sometimes. But they do have the benefit of the doubt from the refs. They are not going to lose tomorrow night's game.
There you go. And I love you get the little sometimes there at the end. Fair and square, sometimes. Good
I've
stuff.
I've seen it, Ken. I've seen...
tell me, I've been seeing it for years, man. I mean, without Donaghy in the...
30 to 10 free throw differentials with the Lakers, and, you watch the game and you go, is that really a foul?
Yeah, well, I've been watching NBA basketball for a long, long time, and over the last several decades, there were many times I said, come on, is that a foul? Or was that a travel? Is that can't be a travel? It was only 3 steps, not 4. NBA.
And, Ken, a little side note, I'll give Adam Silver a little more credit for telling the referees not to blow the whistle as much after the All-Star break. And I have seen a difference. And I have seen a lot more physicality and calls go, which is good. So hopefully in the playoffs, it's, we get a little 90s era-esque basketball like we did last year with the Knicks and the Heat.
There you go. All right. So it'll be interesting to see if we indeed get some defense. And that's what's cool. When you have these one-game elimination games like the Warriors-Kings, you do get to see some defense because teams clamp down. And we saw it yesterday in that Knicks-Bulls game. So I said Chicago didn't need the game, but they really played good, stiff defense, and the Knicks were very fortunate to get that W. So the games for tomorrow, Pelicans are -1, 223.5. No doubt that the Lakers would be your bet.
Last time I checked, I saw the Lakers at +110, and I mean, how can you not throw $100 on that, at least?
Warriors and Kings, Golden State at Sacramento, Golden State -2.5, 223.5. Both totals are 223.5.
Yeah, I mean, not bad. I would take the over, Kings Warriors. I could see that going over. And you got to hit the Warriors in a -2.5 against a team whose bench is hurt. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Hawks and Bulls on Wednesday. That'll be the late game, actually, with the Bulls at home in the Windy City, -3, 221. You like Chicago? It's already moved a half point that way, 2.5 up to 3.
I do. I think there's value there. This game could be close, so I would take it.
And then the Heat and the Sixers, Phillies -4.5, 207.5.
I think that's fair. And you said the over-under is 207?
207.5, yeah.
I think with the free throws and how Embiid gets to the line, you got to take that over. Even though Miami plays that slow pace, I mean, I could see a fourth quarter, Ken, where the last 6 minutes has, combined 20 free throws.
All right.
In a close game, back and forth, playing the free throw game.
Magic and Cavs, we know that they're matched up. Let's go back to the Eastern Conference. Who do you like in this one? Cavs in the first game, they are the home team. We're 4.5-point favorites, 206.5. But in the matchup, I know the Magic got it done in their last couple that they had to win in order to avoid falling into that 7-8 spot. But they actually struggled against Philly, too, during the regular season. But because it was a three-way tie, it worked out in their favor. Magic and Cavs. Cavs not playing good ball either. Who wins this?
Yeah, you're right. Cavs have been slipping, but they are still so deep. And Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, 4 and 5, are like a mini Twin Towers down there. It's going to go Cleveland. I think they take the first game at home. I think they take the series in 6, maybe even 5. I think Orlando's good, but come playoff time, in crunch time, who's going to be that guy outside of Paolo to really get it done? And their youth is going to hurt. Their inexperience is going to hurt them. They're just not ready yet, but they're going to be, Ken. They're coming in the East. They're the 5th seed already.
Yeah, no, I know. Suggs, I mean, you look at the team, very, very young team, but yeah, a lot of potential there for Orlando. The ceiling is high, no question. All right, so that leaves us, let me see, let me go back to the next series then is going to be Pacers and the Bucks. Pacers and the Bucks. Bucks are at home, of course, and they're -1.5 in the opening game, 234.5. What's the update on Giannis?
The update on Giannis is there's some doubt that he's going to miss the first game, maybe even the second game of this series. And Ken, I'm sure you remember through this season, the Pacers had the Bucks' number. In the in-season tournament, they beat them. Before that, they beat them twice, I believe. And it's like the Pacers are the Bucks' kryptonite. It's something about their high-paced play, their run-and-gun offense, and add Pascal Siakam in there. Milwaukee's going to have a hard time. The bench of Milwaukee isn't all that impressive outside of Bobby Portis. So, T.J. McConnell coming in, scoring 10, 12 points easily in the mid-range for Indiana. Definitely going to help them. I don't know, Ken, a fully healthy Giannis with this team, I could see the Bucks taking it in 6 or 7. But with him hurt, I wouldn't doubt Indiana. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's been pretty cold after the All-Star break, and he's really due to have a couple of huge games. And Siakam hitting some clutch shots. I could see if Giannis is going to miss a few games in the series, I wouldn't doubt Indiana taking it.
It'll be interesting because Dame, of course, You know, he doesn't want to go out in the first round. And that's why I kind of looked at Golden State, too, because Chris Paul's still there, and he still has yet to win. And, you know, Steph Curry going to push you a little harder for the old man. But Halliburton and Miles Turner, they had a give and go yesterday that was absolutely fabulous. And they scored 157. I think that's the third time this year they scored over 150 points in a regular season game. Pretty impressive.
You're right. They're like the fourth highest scoring team in NBA history, I read the other day on Twitter, which is incredible. So are they going to lock down in the playoffs and really change their game if they have to? That'll be interesting. Mikey
Domagala, our guest. Let's jump over to the West now and what we know is set. Suns and T-Wolves, opening game for Minnesota. Minnesota is -2, 214.5. What's up with Karl Anthony Towns? Is he ready to roll?
He will be ready to roll come this series next week, which will be very fun. This series, I know you're going to ask me more for my prediction, so I'm going to lay it down now. Ken, I would be stunned if the Suns win this series because I don't feel like their depth could even come close to Minnesota's depth.
Well, their size can't. That's for sure. They give away a lot of size.
I mean,
but you have Booker and you have Beal and you have Durant and then you have Grayson Allen who's playing out of his mind and just got the $70 million contract extension.
Ken, listen, I'm not talking about their starting five. It's their bench. It's their lack of size, like you said. Are they going to play as a team, not just three great, amazing scorers hitting mid-range shots all game? You know, are they going to get stops on one end and beat the Timberwolves' fast break points and lock up when it really matters, second chance points? I just don't see it. You know, you got Naz Reid down there, Karl Anthony Towns. Rudy Gobert is going to eat them up. Mm-hmm. It's going to be really, really tough on Phoenix. I could see Minnesota in 6, and I would be stunned if the Suns win it.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards, I mean, yeah, and then you're right, Gobert, nobody comes up to his neck.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention Anthony Edwards playing like, a top 10 MVP.
All right, so you like Minnesota to knock off Phoenix?
I do. I do.
Phoenix slipping into that 6th spot, tough series with Minnesota. But I think, I want to say, did Phoenix handle Minnesota during the year?
Oh, they just handled them the other day, and I was surprised.
I thought they swept them.
They did. They really did. They played them well, but in a series, I just don't see it.
Okay.
Especially with Towns being back. I mean, Towns is really going to be the difference because if you look at Phoenix, who's really going to guard Towns? KD's all right. Doesn't weigh nearly as much as Towns. Towns could eat him up down low, and Rudy Gobert is just going to turn off Nurkic. So, what's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Grayson Allen hitting 9 threes like he has this year? But that's a lot of pressure.
All right, and then the last series that we know that is set, the 4-5 Mavericks and Clippers. Clippers are the 4. They're favored a 1.5, but the Mavs are actually a slight favorite in the series. 225 is your total. What about this? That's a problem with the Clippers, though. You just wonder, is this team going to be able to have all hands on deck? I mean, because Harden's day-to-day, Leonard's out, right?
Leonard is questionable right now for the start of this series. It sounds like he will play. He just had some swelling, they're saying. So I would doubt that he doesn't play due to some swelling, with some more days left. Tough series. Going 7 games.
Yeah, because Dallas,
guaranteed.
And Dallas, I mean, all their guys they're there, but they're all little ginger. I mean, Doncic is hurting, Irving. I mean, Derek Jones Jr., Washington, Gafford. I mean, all these guys are a little bit banged up, but they're going to go. You think Dallas beats the Clippers, or you think Kawhi comes back and makes a difference, and he and George are able to get through the next round?
Well, one thing I will say, the Clippers will go as far as James Harden takes them. So is Harden going to shoot 3 of 15, or is he going to, put up 20 and 10 double-doubles to help them, win these games and get that ball moving and playing team basketball? But I got to go with Dallas. The Clippers could never handle Luka Doncic in the playoffs. Never. Like, the Clippers are better now, of course, but so is Dallas. Daniel Gafford is one of the best trade deadline pickups this year. And him and Derek Lively down low, I mean, they're a really solid 1-2 punch at the center. That could be a difference. P.J. Washington. And then there's Luka and Kyrie, who have been really playing terrific basketball. They've scored 30-plus a few times recently. I got to go Dallas in 7.
All right, and then I'll just get your take because, of course, we know the 1 and 2 OKC and Denver. They're awaiting winners from the play-in games. I mean, pretty amazing OKC getting the 1 spot. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's just been phenomenal all year. I mean, it has really been a fun team to watch, OKC. A good young team, and they still have standout crowds. I mean, that city just loves that team. Giddey is fun to watch. Holmgren has really stepped up. Man, that's gonna be an interesting run right now for OKC. I want to see how much maturation they'll have for the postseason. And we know Denver; they're the defending champions for a reason. And Jokic is still the man. So talk to me about Denver and talk to me about OKC. Who gets out of there? I mean, if you had to make a prediction right now, is Denver still the team to beat?
Oh, definitely. Most definitely they are. They face the Lakers, they're going to beat them again. I don't think it's sweep, but Denver will beat them in at least 6 games. Definitely. Even New Orleans, if New Orleans beats the Lakers, Denver's going to beat them too. Other side, OKC, I got to give it to Shai. He's been a spearhead on this team. I think he's the MVP because of, willing them to that number 1 seed. His stats are great. As a defender, he's great. Everything he does is great. And that team is really, really deep, Ken. They got a lot of young guys on that bench. Isaiah Joe could be a big-time player on another team. Other guys as well. But their youth, like you just mentioned, how mature can they get? Chet Holmgren's great down there, but is he enough to handle a Jokic down the line if he faces them? Will he get shut down by a Rudy Gobert in the future if they match up with them? But if it's OKC versus Golden State, I mean, God, Thunder have their hands full. But I think that Thunder would make it out on top. And if they face Sacramento, I think they beat them pretty easily.
Last thing before I let you go, the Celtics, they just cruised in the Eastern Conference. And I know Holiday and White are a little bit banged up right now, but they're going to be ready to roll. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, still that 1-2 tandem. Porzingis doing his thing. Love Sam Hauser for a clutch shot off the bench. I mean, that guy can fill it. Tillman, Horford, the old veteran, still around. And Peyton Pritchard, the ever-ready bunny. Anybody in the East have a shot to beat the Celtics, or is this Boston and maybe the winner of Denver and whoever they face in the finals of the West?
I really don't see anybody who really competes. I love my Knicks, but without Julius, it would be really tough if they were to match up with the Celtics. Even though my Knicks beat them recently, in a 7-game series, I think the Knicks would be lucky to force a Game 7. I think they get beaten 6. Other than that, I really don't see anybody else who would actually beat Boston.
What about Philly? What about Philly? Because they're playing, and Embiid and those guys are not intimidated. And the way Maxi's been playing, Philly's still dangerous.
They are dangerous, but the Celtics are just too deep, way too deep. They'll run and gun with the Sixers if they have to. Porzingis will match up with Embiid. Drew Holiday on Maxey will be, a headache for Maxey. I could see Boston in 6 or 7, in that probably 6. And Ken, if the Heat get through and the Heat match up with the Celtics, I mean, the Heat beat the Celtics last year. They almost bullied them in that final game. Yeah, Tatum twisted his ankle, but they bullied Jaylen Brown. They bullied other guys on that team and won that series. But it's different this year with Drew Holiday, with Porzingis. Derek White is even better. Peyton Pritchard, recently he's dropped back-to-back 30-point games off the bench as a starter, actually, in the garbage games, you could call them. But him and Sam Hauser off that bench, man, that white boy connection, they're incredible back there.
I think Milwaukee underestimated the value of Drew Holiday, no question.
Yep. Damian Lillard's great. He'll go down as one of the greatest shooters ever, but a two-way player you could never get sick of, and his value is incredible.
Yeah, they love him in Beantown, no doubt. Got the extension as well. Mikey D, let everybody know how they can follow you throughout the postseason, because we're going to be checking in with you here at SportsX Radio as the playoffs continue to evolve, but let everybody know how they can find you and follow you, pal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the playoffs are coming around. That means everyday posting, everyday stats, everyday updates on Courtside Buzz on social media. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all around there. Also, if you're an MMA and a boxing fan, check out Combat Buzz on all social medias as well. And yeah, Ken, thanks for, acknowledging Courtside Buzz. It used to be NBA Buzz. I recently did a rebrand to Courtside Buzz, which is a big thing in year 13, heading into the playoffs. Wanted to enter the playoffs with a bang, fresh new look, fresh new logo, and fresh new coverage and content of everything going on in the NBA.
And always a fresh outlook. He is Mikey D. You're the best, pal. We'll talk to you soon, young man.
All right, Ken. Thanks a lot, and have fun watching these crazy games.
You know I will, man. I'll be pulling for those Knicks just like you. SportsX Radio, one more segment as we wrap things up here live from Vegas, and Mark Hoke will give you a winner. When we come back, we're live from Vegas, 101.5 FM K-Dawn. It is SportsX Radio. Without further ado, we welcome in Mikey Domagala, who made a mistake. I guess you could say it was a mistake. For KT, he was rather entertained, but when Mikey D was talking to producer Mark Hoke, who, of course, is a big Sixers fan, and Mikey D's like, how about those Knicks, right? Not even thinking twice that, oh, wait, Hokester's from the other side. But lo and behold, Mikey, maybe you did know. Maybe it was just a Freudian slip and you got it out there.
He knew.
Yeah, I think you do. I like it, though. I like it. You came out. You came strong. And the Knicks taking Game 4 in Philly, boy, that was impressive because that was their best showing to me. I know they won the first two in New York, and then they went down in Game 3, which I had them losing double digits Game 3. So I was right on that. Didn't touch the game last night. Was just rooting for the guys yesterday. It was actually yesterday early out here on the left coast, started at 10 a.m. But that was a big-time win because now New York just needs to avoid losing 3 straight to those Sixers. We welcome in Courtside Buzz. Yes, that is Mikey Domagala. Started this thing out when he was a kid, when he was 12 years old. Millions of followers later, 12 and a half, 13 years later. Mikey D, still strong, going at it. How is Mr. Domagala doing on this Monday?
Oh, I'm great with the Knicks up 3-1, and of course I knew, Ken. Come on. Of course I knew. That's the first thing I got to tell the Hokester.
The Hokester is not a happy
Bite
camper.
me.
There you go. All right, so let's go back to that win yesterday. That was really impressive. I was, every time it looked like Philly had an answer, the Knicks just said, nope, not today. And we look back at the acquisition of Jalen Brunson. My goodness. But there have been other players that stood up big time. And there was a trade where they brought in Anunoby. And I know he was banged up and missed a lot of time. But this guy is, he's a freak of nature. Why? Because he's one of 10% of the players in the NBA that still plays defense with the best of them. Talk to me about that acquisition and the 97-92 win in Philly, where the Knicks trailed by a deuce at the half, but came back, led by one after 3, and then ended up winning at 97-92.
Yeah, sure. OG Anunoby coming over, I wasn't too crazy about the trade, especially because of Quickly going. He was great off the bench, but OG just incredible. Him and Brunson, when they play together, Ken, there's something like 23-3 or something incredible like that. But another factor of that trade is Precious Achiuwa. Now, Mitchell Robinson hurt, Isaiah Hartenstein in foul trouble. Achiuwa's been playing great through the year with all the injuries and all that. But this postseason hasn't been getting much burn because of, Mitchell Robinson back and whatnot. But yesterday afternoon, that game, Ken, Precious Achiuwa single-handedly won them that game because of his defense, all-around defense on Embiid, and all-around defense on the entire 76ers in that fourth quarter. He held them to something like I saw on Twitter, like 1 of 15 or something as a team. Philly was missing shots, but Precious running around, swarming Embiid, blocking that three-pointer in the clutch, just everywhere. So, yeah, OG was great. Him and Hart combined for 31 rebounds, which is absurd. But Precious Achiuwa has been a gem that nobody's really talking about from that trade. And he just won them that game yesterday.
Yeah, Mikey, one of the most impressive stats to me is I look at the Knicks, only 12 team turnovers, and right next to that in the box score, 11 blocks. How cool is that? You mentioned Achiuwa, but you got 3 from Anunoby and 3 from Hart as well, and then 1 from Brunson. And Brunson, 47 points, leading the way, a plus 10 when he was on the court there with the Knicks. And Achiuwa, when he was on the court, he was the high as a plus 11 for the Knicks. But that is a devastating loss for Philadelphia. And what a lot of folks said, including the players, including Joel Embiid, said, I'm not going to fault the Philly fans, but this is something that should not happen. We are in Game 4 in a game that we have to win, that we should have home court advantage, that we've had home court advantage, including the 2 Knick wins in Philly during the regular season. We had home court advantage. You could hear our crowd. They got up for the game. You did not know who was the home crowd yesterday. If you were listening on the radio and you were expecting something good to happen for Philly if you heard loud noise over your radio, not the case, because the Knicks had a ton of fans there, and they were big time, and they were rocking and rolling, and they were together. And my goodness, again, on radio, you would have thought that potentially when the Knicks did something good, that it was for Philly, since the game was in the city of brotherly love.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, Ken, historically, the Knicks fans do travel well, but it's just a different vibe, a different feeling in this city. It's almost like a clear path to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't want to jinx anything. And everybody knows that this Knicks team is legit, and Jalen Brunson is the new superstar of New York. I mean, I have him top 5 superstar right now of, all New York sports, maybe even top 3 at the moment. But that's the point. It's like everybody's buying in. Even if you're not a Knicks fan, you're hearing about your friends, your family members talking about the Knicks that, holy crap, these Knicks are good. I got to tune in and watch. And that's what it feels like. And I'll be out there tomorrow night at the Garden interviewing before and after the game, and I'm really hoping for a Knicks win, because if they close out the series 4-1, Ken, 7th and 8th Avenue is going to shut down, like it usually does after a win. But to end the series, oh, my God, it's going to be madness.
Yeah, no doubt. I haven't been back there for a Knicks playoff game since the Knicks and Pacers back in the day. I mean, old school stuff. Larry Johnson's 4-point play. Unbelievable.
Oh, man.
A long
That's
time ago.
Right there.
Yeah, it was a classic. There's no doubt about it. 97-92, Knicks go up 3-1. Now, they best not blow it. They best join the New York Rangers, who end up sweeping Washington 4-0, and they move on to round number 2. But the Knicks should take care of business. Hopefully tomorrow that crowd will be at a fever pitch. What is the update on Mitchell Robinson with that sprained left ankle?
I hear he's getting a little bit better, continuing the rehab. He was about to be a go. I was actually very surprised he didn't play in the game in Philly. About to be a go, and what I saw on Twitter from sources and stuff is that he kind of tweaked it or didn't feel totally right. And, he's banging down low with Joel Embiid, all the big men down there. Mitchell Robinson, he's a jump for everything, jump for every block kind of guy. So that foot, that ankle has to be good. I could see him being a go tomorrow night at MSG.
Bogdanovich rolled his ankle, did he not? And that's why he's out. Now, how bad is that?
It looked bad. I actually haven't read any updates or seen any, but it looked bad. For him to come in a game and 10 seconds later go down like that, it was tough. I mean, Ken, Knicks are banged up, really banged up. I know Embiid is too, but, that was impressive as hell yesterday to win the way they did after the injuries, after dealing with the refs. Should I say Joel Embiid playing dirty again? All of that stuff intertwined in everything. And Jalen Brunson just, took care of business, 47-10, just tearing apart Philly.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If I told you that the Knicks won at Philly and Hart and DiVincenzo were 3 of 18 from the floor for 12 points, you'd have said, no way, KT, not happening.
Exactly.
But
exactly. Let that tell you, sorry to cut you off, Embiid was playing well. Maxey was really hitting tough shots. But outside of those two, I didn't see anything. Tobias Harris shut off second half. Kelly Oubre played well, but still in the clutch, nothing. Philadelphia just couldn't find that rhythm in the fourth quarter, and the Knicks defense is really all to credit.
Yeah, and I was going to say, a couple things they've got to clean up, though, going forward, and they know it. You cannot go 16 of 26 from the charity stripe. I'm sorry, especially when Brunson goes 9 of 11. The rest of the team really struggling there, going 7 of 15. You cannot have that, because close games, you will lose those games. They need to do better than that. And, again, the depth is very, very important. And so hopefully Bogdanovich will be able to go, because he is a spark from downtown. He is one of those reliable three-point shooters that can ignite a comeback in later rounds. So hopefully they take care of business. Can't lose 3 in a row to Philly. I mean, they can, but let's hope they don't. And let's hope they take care of business tomorrow at MSG with Mikey D in the house.
That's for sure. And, Bogdanovich has been on a heater this postseason. It's like, all right, I'm playing my first postseason basketball in a long time. I'm not on Detroit anymore. He was playing great this series. Tough to see him go down. And, yeah, Ken, it's going to be madness. It's going to be madness. I've already directed some courtside Buzz fans to come and talk to me and get some interviews done. So I'm excited.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with Mikey D. We'll keep him another 5-7 minutes as we close out a huge show Monday after 1. VGK up 1-0, looking to take a 3-1 lead over the Dallas Stars. Nuggets lead the Lakers 31-29, 2 minutes into the second quarter in Denver, and they're all knotted up at 80 apiece in the Bayou. 7:19 to go, fourth quarter. Pelicans and the Thunder. Celtics rolled over the Heat. They cover the 10.5, 102-88. They win in South Beach, 3-1 lead for the Celtics. How about Derek White, 38 points to lead the way. Bam had 25 and 17. Not enough for the Heat. Nobody else really chipped in. So we get back on the horse with Mikey D, and we're going to go over some of these other series. We're also going to look at some of the games coming up tomorrow. We'll see if we can't get a nice free fat play from Mikey D. He was pretty successful the last time he was on the show, so we'll see if he can give us a winner or two before we let him out of here on a huge show Monday, 101.5 FM KDAWN, streaming worldwide on that Odyssey app. Again, you miss any part of the show, use the rewind feature on Odyssey, or you can follow at Ken Thompson 87 at SportsX Radio, and then the archives are pinned at both those handles on X about 40 minutes after the broadcast. Live from Vegas, come back, we wrap things up.
Marshmello, Pink, and Sting.
There's a trio for you.
Song called Dreaming.
Good stuff.
I'm working on spreading it out here for me a little bit, too.
You're doing good. KT, though, major faux pas before we went to break. Dallas tied things up 1 apiece.
Jinx.
Oh, man. And I should have known. I had a text from our good buddy Roger that let me know that Dallas tied it up on that 7th shot against Logan Thompson. So 1-1 after 1. Huge game. Game 4 at the Fortress. Keeping an eye on it. VGK, Dallas Stars. Stars still trail the series 2-1, but they got Game 3 here in Vegas. Can ill afford to let them take Game 4 as well and head back to Dallas all even at 2 apiece. Real quick before we get back with Mikey Domagala and wrap things up, we'll keep Mikey for a few, and then the hoaxer will close out with a very interesting note from the world of professional wrestling, as he usually does. Preventative Diagnostic Center, again, demographically, you fall between the ages of 40 and 72. Preventative Diagnostic Center. Get in there. I was there today with the wife, Christina. Our biannual checkup, had to make sure, and I don't know, but the organs, again, we get them all checked out by the only scanner of its kind in the region that gives you early detection before signs and symptoms of more than 24 ailments like heart disease, lung disease. You're going to know if you have cancer starting up well before blood work would let you know that same stuff. Checks for myocarditis, pericarditis. This is huge to have this type of apparatus here in the Vegas Valley, courtesy of Dr. John Pierce, Preventative Diagnostic Center. Give a call now, leave your name and number, and let them know KT SportsX Radio sent you. 40 and 72. Remember, demographically, you've got to be between that age right there, those 32 years, to use the scanner. Comfortable scan takes only a few minutes. A few days later, you get a detailed report from a board-certified radiologist. They have a heart CT scan calcium score special. Year number 3 here in the Vegas Valley. For SportsX Radio listeners, $600 value, $125 is what it cost, and your significant other is absolutely free. So the two of you in there, $1,200 value total, $125. Early detection is key. Get peace of mind. Take charge of your health. Preventative Diagnostic Center, 534-7900. You already know the 702 area code for Vegas. 534-7900, 534-7900, 534-7900. Go to the website, check it out, PDCenter. LV.com, PDCenterLV.com, some FYI questions, and just an incredible machine right there, and we have it right here in our Vegas Valley. So if you're coming in to visit, jot that down as well, and you can always email me, Ken@SportsXRadio.com, and I'll answer you in case you need anything else. All right, real quick, Mikey D., great to have you back, my man. Let's get back into NBA series. We talked a little Knicks. Right now, 34 apiece, Lakers and Nuggets, and 85-82 with 5:04 to go in regulation. Thunder trying to close out the Pelicans, but we've got more action tomorrow. We've got 3 games. What about those Sixers and Knicks? The Knicks right now, Westgate Superbook, the lines we use, they're -4, 202. What does Mikey D say?
Oh, man, it's tough. I'm a guy who actually made some solid money on the Knicks yesterday. I bought a few points to get them at like +7.5. I felt that was free. When they were down, I was hitting them a little bit. So I did make good money there, but I'm always thinking realistically and outside of my fandom when I bet on the Knicks. Like, tomorrow's a game that they could lose. It's like, that first game in Philadelphia, I was hanging with family and friends watching it. I was like, guys, listen, I'm really not expecting them to win this game. And I feel like they could probably lose tomorrow, too. They usually defend home court nice, but it's tough, Ken.
Yep.
When you're facing Embiid and Maxey hasn't exploded like he should be, that game is due. The Tyrese Maxey game is due to happen, and I feel a close finish tomorrow, and I won't be surprised if the Knicks take the L. So I'm not taking -4.5.
There you go. It's actually, -4 right now, 202. But, Philly wins. I won't be surprised if this thing ends up going 7 games because I doubt Philly will lose 2 in a row on their home court. Pacers and Bucks. Pacers are -4, 214.5. And this is, a depleted Bucks squad, to say the least, and Indiana looking to close things out.
I'm definitely taking that. Definitely taking -4 Indiana. Looks like, they're taking care of business. They're really getting their stride with Miles Turner being like a big X factor. His scoring has been tremendous for them, along with Siakam and Halliburton, who's kind of slipping a little, but he's still getting those 13 to 15 assists a game, Ken. He's great in that aspect. And Andrew Nembhard is like a mini Draymond Green, Josh Hart kind of player for them. And they've been good. I've been impressed. And if my Knicks close out Philly, and I think it's guaranteed that the Pacers will close out Milwaukee, should be a good series. The Pacers play the Knicks well, very well.
We'll wait and see. Meanwhile, the Magic and the Cavs, this series now all knotted at 2, with the Magic taking care of business big time in Game 4 after a rout in Game 3, but it looked like Cleveland had things together in Game 3, and lo and behold, just a huge run by Orlando to take control and a big-time second half. And again, they blew out the Cavs. Cavs get it back tomorrow because, my goodness, they lose tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to win at Orlando. I think Cleveland, this is going to be one where the home team's going to have to win every game if Cleveland's going to end up winning this series in 7, because they just look like they're out of it when they're on the road in Orlando. Banchero's playing out of his mind. Donovan Mitchell better get it together tomorrow, and Cleveland better get a W. They're -4.5, 199.5. What do you think?
Oh, man, it's tough. I'm taking Orlando with the points, +4.5, if that's what it is on the other side. Maybe even buy it to +6.5, spend a little money for that. But, Ken, Donovan Mitchell isn't a fraud, but, is he getting fraud checked right now? Because he's just not leading them like he was. For 3/4 of the beginning of the season, he was an MVP candidate. That's how good Cleveland was. They're rolling, and this team is deep as hell. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley is a great twin tower combination, and they're just, I don't know. They go on these spurts where they're so cold, and they look like, a 10 to 15 seed. I just don't understand. And Orlando's just constant pressure. They got good young guys, Boncaro and Franz Wagner, at the top, just doing everything for them, and they're dangerous. I agree. If they fall 3-2 Cleveland, I don't see them winning 2 in a row to get it back.
Mikey D, we will check back in with you. Just give me a yay or nay. Celtics -14. Do they close out the Heat on Wednesday?
Oh, my God, that's a lot of points. But, yay. They've been looking great last 2.
Mavericks, Clippers, Mavs -2.5 to close out the Clips. What about it?
Oof. Oh, my God, back and forth. But how do you go down 31? Ugh. I would take it.
All right, that's right. That series is even at 2. That's right. The Clips did come. They blew a 31-point lead, and they were trailing, but they came back and closed out. So that series tied at 2. I know. I want to take the Clips. They've won both games without the big guy there. So Paul George is playing well, but Kawhi not so well, and they won games 1 and 4 without Kawhi in the lineup. Mikey Domagala, you are the best courtside buzz. We stay in touch with you throughout the playoffs. Take care, pal. Appreciate you, and bring the Knicks some luck tomorrow when you're at MSG.
Oh, let's hope so. Ken, anytime. Thanks again for, hitting me up. I was just on last week, and, it's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you. There you go. All right, so we're going to wrap things up with my producer and, of course, the hoster. A very busy wrestling weekend, to say the least, but he's following all these other sports, and he made it over there to Green Valley Ranch as well. Brian Kilmeade and Dean Cain, and just a really festive crowd on Saturday, Mark Hoke. That was a lot of fun.